I want to forget about technology and go back to a simpler time of 1976.
Simpler time, back when you could just, like, you know, solve your problems with
by shooting a child.
When I first saw the part, that's one of those things in the movie, like, it's fucking horrible, but I'm just so not expecting it. It's just almost so comedically innocent, like, sir, this is just regular vanilla. Bam! You know? I like fucking died of laughter. I had to rewind that shit 3 times. I was not expecting it.
Well, that's the thing, is like that's a scene in a movie that's just you don't see it coming whatsoever, especially on an older movie too, and so it just makes you bust up laughing, though it's kind of like fucked up. It's just hilarious for the fact. And what we're talking about here is, just in case you jumped in and have no idea what the fuck is going on, because sometimes I don't know what the fuck is going on, but we're talking about good old Assault on Precinct 13 and the 1976 version by John Carpenter.
Freeze! This is the police. Drop your weapons and place your hands above your heads.
On Saturday, 6 members of the gang known as Street Thunder were ambushed by the police. On Sunday, the warlords of Street Thunder swore a blood oath to avenge their dead. For the gang called Street Thunder, it is a day of vengeance. It's war in the streets.
Oh, Jesus, come on. Come on, I'll give you my money. Just don't hurt me, please. Please.
It's terror in the night. It's the most shattering assault on a police station in history. Assault on Precinct 13.
This is a siege.
It's a goddamn siege.
You want to stay here and hold until somebody comes, okay? We're in the middle of a city, inside a police station.
What does that mean?
They're not afraid to die. Any of them. They want to rip us apart, no matter what it costs. It means to the death.
Precinct 13, cut off, isolated in the middle of a city, as a human wave of street killers turns the night into a nightmare.
We got a war going on down here. We can't find the damn thing.
A white-hot night of hate. Assault on Precinct 13.
That fucking flick. And this is Old Man Orange Podcast, and I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunigan.
And this is where we come by and talk about movies that we like, because who the hell's going to tell us what to do?
Yeah, exactly. Good way of looking at it. Did you ever by chance see the remake of Assault on Precinct 13 with Lawrence Fishburne and the Hawk?
Doesn't it have oh yeah, it's got Ethan Hawke in it. For some reason it had John Leguizamo in it. It's the Hawk.
No, not Stephen Hawking. Not Stephen Hawking.
Yeah, no, it's like Ethan Hawke. No, I feel like I should just watch it just to see it someday. Go ahead. As I say, because from what I've heard, it's not like it sounds like it's like a god-awful movie. It just sounds like it's kind of doing something a little bit different, but that's not sort of a bad thing, but it's not nearly as good as the 76 one.
I actually saw a little. I didn't see the whole thing, but I saw a little bit of it on HBO before I even knew it was a remake.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't really care for what I saw. It wasn't god awful because it was one of those things like, well, it was an action movie. It had Lawrence Fishburne, had John Leguizamo, who's one of my favorite character actors.
Wait, is John Leguizamo actually in it?
Yeah, he's in it. He's one of the.
I thought I was making that up. I was like, wait a second, he's not in that, is he? It's like, oh, he is.
That was a good
fucking random ass guess then. I probably saw it and just all clicked together, but continue.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where the thing with that one is Ethan Hawke. They're trying to make it a lot more sleeker, a lot more like
2000s.
black, a lot more gray. Yeah, very early. It's 2005, I think. So everyone like, Lawrence Fishburne was in it, so they gave him like a black leather trench coat. Like, oh, that's kind of Matrixy, isn't it? And there's some kind of like rivalry. Like Ethan Hawke was trying to go after Lawrence Fishburne to actually get him. So now it's like, oh, I got to work with my worst enemy now. And then these guys that are coming after him, they weren't some kind of death cult. They were some kind of military group. I don't know what they were exactly, but it didn't really. I remember maybe I'd like it more now, but I don't know. It didn't really jump out at me. And then when the way we came across a lot of the movies we do over in these retrospects is just randomly, just by going to the pawn shop, because as we said before, our pawn shop down the road had like deals for like, oh yeah, $20 for 10 movies. So you just pull random things and like, oh, John Carpenter's Assault in Precinct 13. I had no idea that movie was a remake. So it's John Carpenter. So I'm curious. Let's see where this goes. And I absolutely fucking loved it when I first saw it. It was like I had an idea where it was going, but it was just done so well.
Oh yeah, no, and this is tactically John Carpenter's second movie, and boy, is it just a fantastic outing. And I think it's kind of like a sort of a hidden gem one. I mean, obviously, if you're a big John Carpenter fan, it's not going to seem like that. But the average Joe's probably seen The Thing. They've probably seen Big Trouble in Little China, and maybe Escape from New York. Those are kind of the three biggest ones, I would say, out of all of them. And then maybe past that, you've seen They Live. And I almost feel like
Halloween.
Oh yeah, and Halloween. Yeah, never mind. Take that back. This sounds so weird. I will say this. Halloween is probably the biggest John Carpenter movie he has. In my mind, I don't know what it is that I always have it in such the back burner. And then I go, oh yeah, that's right, he made that. Which you really kind of forget. You go, oh yeah, John Carpenter pretty much invented the slasher genre. All these things kind of come together there. I mean, yeah, there's probably other movies before they're like in that style, but that man walking around with a knife out in the middle of the night, like that whole kind of story arc of how that goes, it all comes from John Carpenter.
Is because I never really watched the Halloween movies that much. I've seen some of the Rob Zombie remakes, but the Halloween, was that kind of... He only directed the first one? Didn't he direct like the fourth or fifth one?
He directed the first one. I think he wrote the second one and produced the second one, and then the third one he just produced it and did the music or something like that. And then I think from that point on he didn't do any more. So he might have produced some of them later on. That might be why you might see his name. Like maybe he did the Halloween H2O one. I'm not too sure. I know he didn't direct it, but I mean maybe he produced it or something like that. But I will say this. Halloween's one of those movies, it's a real classic movie, and I really appreciate what it is. And even though I like John Carpenter a lot and stuff like that, I'm going to say, like, it's really one of those movies, I just think it's like kind of like an okay movie. I think its legacy's better, and you watch that Rob Zombie remake, and that's fucking brilliant. But that original Halloween, like, every time I always watch it, it's like, dude, nothing fucking happens in this movie till like the last 20 minutes. It is literally a movie of just like build-up. And I know it's in like the 70s, so yeah, you could say that's the 70s build-up. But it's one of those ones, like, I mean, like, talk about a lot of fucking build-up. And I know we're talking about Assault in Precinct 13, but, it's still a John Carpenter kind of like podcast, so there you go.
I'm going to take the next 10 minutes to totally just shit on Terminator 1 now.
What? Terminator, what the fuck? Well, I don't know what it is. It's one of those movies, like, I think, because here's the thing. When that movie came out, it's a really big thing. But once you kind of seen Friday the 13th, and once you've seen all these other movies, and even like Nightmare on Elm Street, it kind of, I'm not going to say that they did it sort of better, and then even some of the sequels, it's more just like, it's a good starting ground, but it is really one of those movies like, not a lot fucking happens that first hour. That's why when I saw that Rob Zombie one, because it was like, I still enjoyed Halloween. I'm not saying it's like a bad movie, just not saying it's like a super amazing one, at least not to me. Maybe because I caught it, well, I saw it when I was a kid, but still, I was all these other horror movies at the same time. But then you see that Rob Zombies one, and it's like he takes that whole grand concept of it and just adds in so much story elements, adds in all these other scenes, makes the whole thing exciting the whole way through. But
yeah, no, I really can't even comment on it because I've never seen the original Halloween. I've seen like clips and parts of it, but I've never seen the original movie. I just know how important it is. I was just busting your balls there for a minute, but it's kind of like I kind of see what you mean because it's kind of like even though I like Death Wish, it's a great movie. But the urban revenge movie has been done a lot by this point. So I think we've all kind of seen it fine tuned. And then we kind of reached that point. Later Death Wish movies, he's just going out there with 2 machine guns, just firing off and killing off whole groups of guys.
Never
so
gets
it starts
Jeff
off,
Goldblum, though. Jeff Goldblum always gets away.
I really think before he died, I really think they should have just done like, by that point, I'm going to assume maybe Jeff Goldblum got famous. I mean, maybe by that point, Jeff Goldblum was big, maybe because, he was small time actor when he did Death Wish 1.
Yeah.
But the whole I hate rich cunt thing and just pistol whips the lady. But I'm going to assume by the time they did Death Wish, what was it, like 5 or 6? I've only seen like the first 2 in all honesty.
I think it's like 5 of them. They're like the same.
I know they reach a point though where he's just like firing machine guns through whole crowds of people and just almost like the Terminator, it seems.
Yeah, become more actiony as it goes on.
But I think that they should have tried to get one more. Just like, is Jeff Goldblum famous now? Okay, he's the villain. This is like he's been built into this. Not John. Did I say Jeff? What did I say?
You said Jeff Goldblum.
Okay, I thought I said John Goodman for a second, which I'd pay to see that too. But
no, I think Death Wish, that's a perfect example of almost the same way I kind of feel about Halloween. Like, it's like history-wise, it's this really important mark, but then it's just kind of like, more and more people took that same concept and really dialed it in. And leading all the way back around the song Precinct 13, like, that's that kind of story. Like, you could take that and turn it into all kinds of different things. And, what John Carpenter said he did is, he took Rio Bravo with John Wayne, and that's, who the fuck directed that? I'm not going to remember on top of my head right now. Howard Hawks. And took that concept where it was a Western, and it was all about guys being kind of locked up in there, bunch of Indians coming in storming the base, and then they got to defend it off, and he's got a couple prisoners he's got to side with and all that thing. And really what John Carpenter wanted to do, it's almost like he wanted to do kind of like a Western himself, and he knew he couldn't afford it, so that's where, hey, let's just do it with gang members and things like that, because you can do that totally on the cheap. I mean, this movie is only a $100,000 movie, which is kind of ridiculous to think, even back in the 70s, just for the fact how much film cost to print.
He also took a little bit of inspiration from Night of the Living Dead.
And I think
he really tries to...
That sort of kind of came like, oh yeah, that is like that. Because when I first watched that movie, I was like, oh, this feels just like Night of the Living Dead. And I think it was one of those ones where like he was going for the Rio Bravo one, and then it happened to be like, oh, well, you know what that's also kind of like is Night of the Living Dead too. Let's just kind of throw some elements like that in there.
I think he did, because he even said he was trying to do things that kind of like almost dehumanize the villains a bit. Because what I really like about this movie is the villains in it. It's not kind of like just a bunch of like shit talking thugs. They're actually like this weird, creepy death cult that hardly ever talk, and they have no emotion. And that is like, that's so much more threatening and intimidating to me, because even in like most movies like this, or most movies about kind of like, people being put in a situation where they got to go up against gangs or something like that, they always make them so kind of like just very arrogant or very kind of like loudmouths or anything like that. But this movie, they don't even do that. They're just these creepy death cult guys. They don't show pain when they get killed or when they get hurt or anything like that.
Well, this is what I love about 70s movies, and this is something that pretty much almost hasn't existed in a long time, is villains in 70s movies, they would make them just pure evil. Like, literally, do not give them a single reason why you should like these people whatsoever. I think of movies like Last House on the Left, right around the same time period. The guys in that one are just, you don't have a single reason to go like, oh no, these people are just totally fucked up. They're just murdering these people like that. Where you get sometimes in like remakes and movies nowadays, like they always got to give the villain like some kind of sympathy. But when you do that, the second you go, well, I kind of see why he's doing that. I see why he's murdering these girls, but I mean, that's not like the right thing to do, but well, I see how it happened. Like, in the second that happens, they don't seem that bad anymore. I mean, they're still bad guys, but they don't have that. When you make something pure evil where they're doing it and you don't even know why they're doing it, it's just they're doing it out of just destruction and just hate and all this stuff without really even shedding an emotion. That to me, I think is way more creepier, way more better, and it's like that. And some people might go like, well, that doesn't make a three-dimensional character. Sometimes you don't need a three-dimensional character when you want that, because a straight villain that just does one thing and one thing only, that to me is scarier, because it's like they don't have like a reason to like stop doing what they're doing. And after the
And
70s, that kind of like style went away. You very rarely see it anymore.
And these guys, like I said earlier, they're not really like a gang. They're more of a cult. Because they're just going around just causing mayhem. They're almost kind of like, they almost seem like Batman villains. There's just like, they'll come across like an ice cream truck and they'll just look and like, let's kill that. Why? Not because, ooh, it's fun and it's evil and we're bad. It's just like, no, we're just going to kill them. That's just what we do.
Yeah, it's just like nobody questions it. It's just, they do it.
And that's so much more like creepy and intimidating. They're just kind of like, ah, even though Joker is one of my favorite villains, but you get the idea.
And you know what's the smart thing too? For a 70s movie as well, I like how they make the gang like super diverse. It's just all walks of life in this gang. It's white guys, Mexican guys, Asian guys, black guys, just everybody's in this gang. Like, so it doesn't even define like what type of people these are. It's just literally, it's anybody could be in this thing that's just going to kill.
That's what you got to kind of like worry about when making a movie like about like we're going after this gang, like it's a white guy going after, oh shit, how's this gonna look? But this one's like, oh, they're everybody, they're just killing everybody in this, so it's okay.
Well, it's kind of funny because I listened to the audio commentary on John Carpenter. There was mainly one real point I was trying to look for, and he didn't answer it there, but I'll mention that in a second. But it's funny because when he was talking about all the shootout, he kept referring to it like it was a Western. He's like, oh, here come the Indians now storming into the building. It was real, bro. It just sounded funny. This sounds like, oh, another Indian down there, and oh, here comes another one. Like in his mind, he just saw a Western the whole time. Which it is totally like that. It's got that modern day Western vibe to it. I mean, you got your sheriff who's kind of elected to come guard this precinct, and he's got almost like he rides on in, slowly building up to it. And the thing about this movie is, like, you might say this movie has sort of a slow build-up, but I don't really think so. Like, I think everything in it kind of works. I don't feel ever bored during it. I don't ever feel like, man, nothing's happened for the first hour. Because they still have little bits of here and there action, and then just everything else in it, like, keeps you interested.
Plus, another thing about the movie is the main actor, the head actor in this, is a black dude, and I know that's like, you've had black stars in films at that point, but it's cool to know it wasn't a blaxploitation film, and he was a cop, and this, it was just, you don't see that. I don't think you saw that a whole lot probably back in the 70s.
Well, that's what they
played by
when he was
Austin
making
Stoker.
this movie, like they want him to almost be making an exploitation movie. And, somehow he got like a different company, or not company, but different kind of group of investors. And then they kind of let him do whatever he wanted. It's like, well, we'll give you like a lower amount of money. We'll give you $100,000, but you can do whatever you want. So he's like, oh, fuck, I'll go with that one right there. And in it, he ended up making this Western. He even said that he's like, at the time period, it's like people didn't get this movie because the Western was not popular at the moment, which I always kind of refer to. I've noticed that like a lot of the baby boomer generation, the Western is not, they don't really like Westerns very often. Like, I just think of some people like, even my dad, for example, like, he's not really that much into a Western film. And I always kind of wondered if it had this to do with it, because our grandparents, like the World War II generation, were probably obsessed to the max with Westerns, that all the kids like, man, that's like my dad's fucking movie, Kinda.
I know my dad, he liked, well, one of his favorite movies is Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, which is a Western aimed at his generation.
Yeah.
But at the same time, though, he did like a lot of Clint Eastwood Westerns. And
Clint Eastwood's a little bit different, but I just noticed that I'm not saying there's not people that don't like Westerns, but I think I've just noticed I've met a lot of people, in that baby boom generation that the Western's really not nearly as much their favorite. And they like sci-fi a lot, but they don't like Western. It's like, I noticed that's always the big change.
Well, it's kind of funny, of all the science fiction franchises to come out of like the 70s, the only ones that really stood around was Star Wars and Star Trek.
And Alien.
And then Alien, but I think Alien kind of comes more in spurts. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to give it another try.
I guess, but once you have like 6 movies and a bunch of games and all kinds of stuff like that, it's like, it's almost, or 7 movies technically.
It's made its place. Don't get me wrong. It's there. It's going to always be one of the major franchises of science fiction, but I'm just saying it's probably not as consistent. Well, even Star Wars, I guess, isn't as consistent. So I guess, yeah, it's probably the same area as Star Wars, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, I mean, you could like tit for tat. Obviously, Star Wars is always going to seem a little bit higher than everybody else, just for the fact of how big it is, but yeah.
And plus, well, I guess because you got so much expanded universe stuff in between, like between movies and books and all that. But anyway, we're getting off topic of that. So, but this movie right here, Assault on Precinct 13, It what's kind of what I think the coolest thing about it is how simplistic it is, and the movie even looks really cheap. It does not look expensive at all. But that being said, it doesn't feel it doesn't feel
corny or anything like that.
But it doesn't feel or it doesn't like that. It all looks plausible. That's the thing. It's not like, oh wow, that's all you can afford. It just looks like, oh, that looks real. I believe that.
It's not like, oh my god, is that a garbage can man coming at him? It's like, no, it's not that kind of stuff. Yeah. It just, you can tell that it's like, oh, okay, they have this building to shoot in, and there's like this warehouse here at a couple blocks. And I think in that
kind of the same way Clerks is.
It has like that kind of feel to it, which I think that maybe that's another reason why I like this movie so much. But just story-wise, I mean, yeah, you could really sum it up that, yeah, a bunch of, a handful of random people get together. They're in a precinct. This bus, I guess what it leads into is there's this bus that's taking a bunch of convicts. So this is the part that seemed kind of interesting. And this is what I was looking for in the audio commentary. But, of course, John Carpenter didn't mention any of this stuff. They mentioned multiple times that they're taking these, like, 3 big convicts to Sonora.
Yeah.
And then I kind of go, I started thinking, I'm like, well, they're not taking them to Mexico. If they're taking them to a prison, right where we come from, Sonora area, there's a big prison right down the road. And then I was kind of going like, they even mentioned the bus driver goes, oh, it's 6 hours away. Well, 6 hours away is the exact time frame that it would take to get there. And then I finally, after like I realized that John Carpenter didn't say that, I'm like, well, what fucking year did they build that prison there in Copperopolis? And then I look and it's like 1965. So that could be exactly where they're taking them to.
I believe it. You know what? I bet it was probably something. We need something that's a bit away. Well, let's look on a map. All right, Sonora. That looks like it's a bit away from Los Angeles. We'll go with that. It's probably as small as that. Probably not even a whole lot of thought. Maybe we took a vacation there.
Yeah. Well, in the 70s, there is a lot of movies that the whole point is to get to Sonora, and they never do. Just like Vanishing Point.
Yeah, I was gonna say Vanishing Point was there. Well, then you got Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry.
That one actually starts in Sonora.
In Sonora.
And leaves.
The fuck out. Yeah.
But
which I was watching that on Netflix a few months back, and I was just like, oh yeah, I was gonna say, I thought it was just gonna be like, okay, they got one shot.
No, it's quite a bit of Sonora.
Yeah, when people talk about like, okay, so there's gonna be one shot inside like the parking lot or whatever. I'm like, oh, actually, they're going down the back roads. Like, oh wow, I used to live on that street, huh?
Yeah.
So small things like that.
No, that would be a fun movie to do. I was thinking about that a while ago. I'm like, that'd be a cool one. Especially since it's like, hey, we could talk about all that area that they shot in because it's right next fucking store. Drive through it all the time. So that'd be kind of a cool movie to do down the line.
Just point it out like frame by frame, just do an audio commentary. Yeah, we went there.
Yep.
Been there. Yep. Okay, the rest of the movie, we haven't been none of that. Never been that, no.
Well, the rest of it's all like Farmington, like that down like farmland Stockton area. Mm-hmm, so it's all areas like driven through somehow, some way. I know it kind of looks the same, but
a lot of orchard farms. But it's something about this though. I think that they kind of like I like what they do with the he's not a sheriff. He's some big wig like cop. He's like a detective who's seeing. I think he's a detective who's seeing the 3 big prisoners to death row, and they play this guy off. They give him a lot of personality, and he definitely comes across as like the
Napoleon, the main convict guy.
No, not him. I'm talking about the cop.
Oh, okay.
He comes in he crosses like the big dick swinging, kind of like, I'm the cop here. I am the big shot. You know what I mean? He doesn't try and play it off like a dick, but he plays it off like he is the one in charge.
Yeah.
And when they off him, as soon as shit goes down, I was genuinely surprised. I mean, I knew Napoleon. They get across. He's your Charles Bronson. He was even inspired by Charles Bronson's character, Harmonica, from Once Upon a Time in the West. So that right there is a little like fun fact. But once they actually killed the cops, like, oh fuck, I'm surprised they actually killed that guy at least so quickly. And I'm kind of like at the moment, it's just like because the Austin Stoker character because he's basically it's his first. He just got promoted. He comes in. He just has to maintain and watch over this station as they're moving all the shit over to the one down the road.
For one fucking night.
For one night, that's all he has to do. It's going to be very simple for him. And then they pull over because this one dude on the people are transporting him to Sonora. One dude in the truck is sick, like almost dying. So they pull over to stop there. And the head cop, he's just complaining the whole time, like, oh, you don't got a phone up, you don't got this, you don't got that. Like, look, man, we're moving this to the station. Oh, well, great. Well, great job running this. They're like, oh, well, thanks a lot. He walks right out, gets fucking shot. Like, yeah, you get that, motherfucker. You know, it's just like, dude, it's my first fucking day here. What do you want?
Jeez, talk about coming in to hassle this place that's pretty much supposed to be gone already. We're just waiting for the last couple trucks to come by and for the lights to go off and the telephones. Like, that's all we're doing here.
Oh, we should actually mention first off how the attack happens in the first place.
Oh, yeah, so first off, we're just like, a bunch of guys get together in a precinct, and then they're playing and
having a good old time.
And then the dick gets shot.
So basically, what ends up happening, there's this dad who's driving with his little girl saying, okay, so look, it's been a while since daddy got laid, so we're going to try and get your nanny to come move in with us. That's basically the short and simple.
Yeah.
And they get lost in the neighborhood.
So you know what to say, right, honey? She's like, well, yeah. You're like, okay, you got those words memorized. Then there's the part where I can't remember what it is, but
I remember better if I had some ice cream. Oh, this little bitch. All right, honey, let's get you going. So this guy, he's kind of like tall, gray hair, balding.
He looks like he's like 3 times older than his. I mean, he looks like it's like his grandpa. Just driving around.
Yeah. He's a young grandpa, possibly, more than this being his daughter, but whatever. So the guy pulls in. He says, like, I don't know where your nanny lives. Let's just eat. So he pulls over, go to a payphone, gives his daughter some money to go run to the ice cream man.
And this poor ice cream man's been sitting there watching these kind of like sharks, in a sense, circle around him.
Just kind of getting ready to hassle him. The little girl comes up, like, I want a vanilla twist, which, I don't know, maybe back in like the 70s, ice cream trucks just had like soft serve. Maybe they did back then. I remember when we did. We
all
went
frozen in packages.
There's always some guy just like chucked you the ice cream. Get the fuck out of here. Next. Or this guy was clearly one of those. Oh, come on right in, huh, con. But this guy was like worried. He's like, oh fuck, yeah, we're closed. Get the fuck out of here. But the girl's like, oh, I just please.
Your music's still on.
Yeah. It's like, fuck. All right, here. She's like, what do you want? Vanilla twist. So he gives her some ice cream. She bounces out. And then as soon as she's out of sight, that's when the thugs pull the ice cream guy out. And they just put him at gunpoint. Poor little girl walks back.
She's like, this isn't vanilla twist. That motherfucker screwed me over.
Oh my God.
And then starts skipping over. La-di-da-di-da-di-da. La-di-da-da-da-da. And then, hey, mister, you fucked me over. Where's my vanilla twist? And then you get this blonde guy who's standing there with like a fucking silencer, just turns, looks at her, and fucking shoots.
I don't even think he looks at her. I think he just points his gun.
It cuts to it. It literally just cuts to him going, bam!
He just like doesn't even look at her. I think he just points his gun, like he's still looking at the ice cream guy. And then like she just turns around like, because I'm not expecting that at all. I'm expecting to kidnap the little girl or something. Like that's what they always do in those kind of movies. But then he just like, mister, this is just regular vanilla. Bam! Just like, I remember just when I first saw that, I was so unexpecting that. And I was just fucking dying of laughter. Like, oh my God, they just fucking do that.
Just hit child, there's fucking blood everywhere and everything like that. And the fun thing too is like that scene right there, like that was originally going to give him an X rating for the movie. And what happened is the producer said, hey, John, how about you just...
Don't be a pussy.
He's like, just cut that scene out, give it back to the MPAA, and then we'll just release the real version to theaters. And they just did that, and, it's kind of like, fuck, there's nothing we can do about it now. Everybody's seen the fucking movie. And apparently in the 70s, that was common to do, is to give the MPAA like an edited version and then just show the real version.
They just like a little like fuck you at the credits to the MPVA.
Yeah. Which is always like, it's funny because, I mean, how many movies can you think of though, even nowadays, that like where you just see a child just get fucking shot in cold blood like that?
More than when I was younger, because that was the thing about watching like action films when I was a kid. When I was younger, I actually thought there's literally a law, like you couldn't do it, because I don't remember seeing it so much. Now that I'm older, I see it a lot more than I thought I ever would. The first time I think I really saw it and it really stuck out to me was it's really random, like Hostage with Bruce Willis, because it opens up with a kid with a bullet wound in the chest, like coughing up blood. It's like a little kid too. So
that was going back to our podcast. There's also a famous one too, where like, oh, shut up, boy.
Yeah. So that was like the first time, and that was like I remember seeing that like in high school and being like, "Oh shit!" But then later, I just saw these older movies like, "Oh well, that one has it, that one has it," and oh, one of my favorite movies of all time, In Bruges, has it. So I guess maybe it just became more commonplace as time went on because I heard stuff like, "Oh yeah, they did that in Schindler's List," but it never made any of the cuts because audience are walking out and whatnot, and like and don't get me wrong. I don't like seeing kids get shot in movies. This situation, though, it's too fucking funny. Just the way they cut it and just the timing.
Well, it's just one of those ones. To me, it's like in a movie, it's like, what's the difference if you shoot an adult or you shoot a kid? I mean, it's still somebody getting shot and dying. Like,
well, I guess my point is, it's like one of those things. It depends in what way. It's kind of like I guess I get kind of squeamish on certain things about like in certain ways. Like I like violence, but I'm not really into like. I know this is kind of a different subject, kind of like I like violence, but I'm not really into things like Hostel or Saw because it's long, drawn out scenes of violence. Like it's like
but
basically
it's funny.
torture.
That's what makes Hostel like work is because it mixes in like comedy with like straight like horror.
Maybe I gotta see that then because I don't know. Maybe it's like, oh, he's right. This is quite the knee slapper. But I just I never got into like torture films. But maybe
that's like way different than just like regular action movies where people are getting shot.
But what I was gonna say is there's certain things I was kind of like I'm not really squeamish towards like a kid getting shot, but I guess if it's like ultra violent and a kid dying, I guess if it's something that's I feel like moving the story forward. Here's an example: Rambo. I think the Rambo 4, which I think has probably one of the hardest to watch scenes I've ever seen in the movie, which is when they're fucking bayoneting kids. Not just, oh, the kid's shot, but they're straight up fucking bayoneting kids, grabbing a baby, chucking that baby into a fucking burning building.
Yeah, it just gets intense.
It's one of those things like, what the fuck? And that was like probably one of the shock there ever was in a movie. It's like I was so fucking shocked. It didn't really kill the movie for me, but I was a little for the rest of the movie like, oh fuck, what's gonna happen? Whenever I saw like a kid or like a girl getting captured, when I saw like a kid or like one of the village girls getting captured, I was always kind of like scared for him. But then that's all payoff though, because the second Rambo starts killing some fuckers, it's like yeah, So I think once in a while, if you're using it for something. Now, I'm not going to lie. This movie's just using it for exploitation, but it's just shot in a way that's just funny as shit because I just wasn't expecting it.
Well, and I think it's like, it's not really...
It's not
I wouldn't say it's exploitation. I would say it's there. It's there to really prove like how evil these people are. I don't think it's like exploitation. Exploitation would be there just to make it out for... I mean, I know it's in the 70s, kind of like, let's try this, let's try that. Hey, they never said we could do this before, let's do that, but...
And the movie doesn't happen without that little girl getting killed.
Yeah, that's like kind of like drives sort of the whole story because then the father, which is weird, he like just leaves her there like on the side of the street like, that's okay, I guess she's dead now, I don't need her corpse.
I do need this fucking gun the ice cream man had though.
And he takes his gun and goes chasing after them, and finally he ends up killing one guy and then has like a panic attack after that, and then runs inside the precinct there and doesn't say a goddamn fucking word to these people. And really, if you just explained what the fuck happened, these people would not be in like so much shit going down, because all they know is this crazy old man runs inside, fucking cowers over in the corner for the rest of the movie, doesn't say a goddamn word really, and all hell starts breaking loose on them.
Well, it's kind of like in that context, that's one other thing that reminded me of Night of the Living Dead, is because it's like there's the lady who was talking a bunch at the beginning of the movie. Second her brother got taken down by a zombie.
They're coming to get you, Barbara. Shut the fuck up, Dave!
Barbara, they're coming to get you. Oh, fuck! And then the rest of the movie, she's just sitting there, and then what happens? She comes across Dave at the end, like, no, Dave!
And then she's just like there in the house, like on the couch the whole time. Like,
that's what this guy is. At first, like, I really like this guy. I'm like, oh, he's just kind of chilling in the corner now. I mean, I guess you can say he's unshocked about his daughter dying. It was almost kind of like he just had to kill that one guy. Now he's just like, I don't know the fuck, you know what I mean? He's just
I mean, like
gone.
now it's kind of almost like pure revenge kicked in, and he went in, and once that revenge was over, now he's like, oh fuck, what do I do with myself?
Reality.
Yeah. So it makes sense. It's not like it's an illogical character or anything like that, but it is. I just feel for everybody else that's in there who's just trying to figure out what the hell's going on.
And, they got like a small police crew. They got kind of like the older like gruffer cop that's probably been there for a while, kind of like, I don't really want to be here right now. Then they had the there's the character. Her name's Lori Zimmer. She plays Lee. She is probably one of the best characters in this movie.
It's one of the strongest characters too. Like that character just can take anything and do anything. They really do. That's where I think John Carpenter. It's like he's so like ahead of the time. You know what I mean? Like in the '70s, he's making strong black characters, making gangs that got multiracial people in it. He's making strong female leads. Like everything in this movie is just going like totally in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. And there you have there's the other, like, I think you just need the one character, like, I don't know about this, and there's like one other like secretary there.
That lady who just says the stupidest fucking shit that like I just bust up laughing every time I watch that movie when she says stuff, because I just like
Nancy Keys as Julie. In the movie, she's listed as Nancy Loomis, but she's sitting there the whole time like, maybe they're gone. Let's just hand them back. They'll go away. And like she says, like she is really fucking stupid. Her character, but it's like
it makes sense.
You already have Lee there as well as the Austin Stroker character to make things there, and as well as the character Napoleon played by Darwin Johnston. So with those three characters right there, everything else kind of bounces out. And then the other members, there's the other prisoner that's with them, who I think his name was Wells. I believe that character's name was Wells. He was a pretty likable character.
Well, yeah, for the most, I mean, like you got to have like that one chick that's kind of dumb. You got to have some of those characters just to kind of balance it off, because you know they're gonna fucking die anyways. Which when they do die, you get happy and excited. But I mean, she like some of those lines. Like the one that makes me laugh. It probably won't sound nearly as funny when I say it, but that one when she's like, "But what about the telephone lines?" Like. Those telephone lines, it's like that's her only fucking job. The telephone lines are cut. She doesn't know what to fucking do anymore. And the way she says it, just like, I don't know, I just die laughing every single time. Or there's also the part where like I think
she has no purpose. Like she starts to fade away out of existence.
The telephone lines. Yeah. And then there's a part too where like the older cop guy runs outside. He's like, I gotta go outside and see what's going on. And he runs out there, and then she's all, look, Jamie fell down. Everybody else looking like, he didn't fucking fall down, he was shot. What do you mean he was shot? I didn't hear anything. It's like, they're fucking silencers, goddammit, you stupid bitch. But I don't know what it is. It's just like it's not. I don't think like the lines are really corny or anything like that. It's not. I'm not laughing because of that. Just like I think just the way that like delivers, because you know people like that in real life that would say stupid shit, and they would probably end up dying first too.
That right there, that was one of those things where. When actually, a funny thing about that is he was trying to make a big Western here, and the guy Cheney, who got that's Henry Brandon, who was actually in The Searchers. Mm-hmm. So, and he's trying to get.
That was his classic actor of the movie.
Yeah, he was your classic actor. He's probably just kind of like, yeah, I'll do you kids a favor, be in the movie for a minute. For a while, I thought that was the guy. I thought that was the what's his name? I don't know the name of the actor, but. There's the one guy in the Wild Bunch who's kind of William Holden's like right-hand man.
Mm-hmm.
Like right when the two twins are like, we gotta like bury them. He's just like, yeah, then maybe we'll have a ceremonial dinner and like say a couple of Hail Marys, and then oh wait, there's the cops. You know, like that guy.
Yeah.
I thought that was him for a minute, but no, it wasn't. But whatever. But anyway, he still did a good job for what little bit he was in there. And then I was actually a lot more depressed when I first saw it. Like, oh man, you killed that guy, because I love Wild Bunch. But then I'm like, oh, it's someone else. It's okay. But I guess that was like you said, that was their classic actor. They got in there for a minute.
Yeah, they probably, because you know they shot this movie like in 20 days, something like that. They probably only had that guy for one.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's all we can afford him for.
He wasn't Gunsmoke, wasn't that? But anyway. So once that happens, I think it's funny though, once they actually do kill Julie, they don't even make a thing of it. They don't make a big deal of it. Like the shit's going on. They're getting shot out. They're barricading the doors. They're just firing back to this really cool action scene.
Just shit breaking glass, explosion.
They just pan over like they got Julie. They're all quiet. They don't really seem sad. They got quiet. Like, all right, I guess who's got a sheet? All right, just throw that. Just shove this shit.
I'm sick of seeing that bitch's fucking face.
Yeah.
They just go start kicking her.
Yeah, it's like just shove it in the corner. Just keep it there. Yeah,
let's just shove her against. We'll just kind of wedge her against the door as like a barricade.
Use her as a body. She'll just like tie her up, just like hold her up.
They just take her and just like pin her fucking body on the front door, like in like a crucifix position.
This will stop them.
It's like what hunters do, like that thing that hunters do, like the animals. You ever heard of that? It's fucking weird. Like people will take like they're like, oh, if you want to get rid of raccoons, you just fucking take one of them, kill it, and then hang it up on a tree, like nail it in there, and the rest of them will all go away.
Just send a message.
Yeah, it's just like I'm like, yeah, I guess you could do that with anything. You could...
Well, it's like, well, good news, the raccoons are gone. Bad news, the bear came.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and you know, you could do that I guess if you want to get people out of your neighborhood, you could just go kill someone and just strap them to your fucking front door and see what happens then.
Well, that's what I do with like cockroaches here. I'll like kill one, then I leave it like impaled, like in a spot for the others to see.
I never saw a single cockroach in San Francisco. I didn't think they actually existed there.
Oh, we don't have them right now. But yeah, that's what I do. I just got to send them a message, that it doesn't seem to work, but I'm going to just keep on hoping it works.
Apparently if it works for raccoons, I assumed it worked for everything.
Yeah.
But, Julie fucking dies. They pin her body to the door. No, they just actually leave it there in the center and whatever, get her out of the way.
Sheet over it like, oh, that shit ain't going nowhere. So.
And then now you've just pretty much left it mostly like 4 really badass characters. I think
you're left
4 or 5.
With, well, Wells is there for a little bit longer, which is the Tony Burton character.
The black guy?
He's there.
Well,
yeah.
The black prisoner guy?
You feel bad for him because he's on death row as well. You feel really bad for the guy who's sick. So you think the sick guy might make it out for a minute, or he might have he's like one of the first to fucking go. But they basically they come up with a plan, like, all right, well, if you go out through this secret door, come out through the back in the car, maybe you can make it over to the public phone, because over there that's on a different power access, so you could probably get a hold of somebody. So he goes out there, and they're like, can we really trust him? Because he seems to be a guy who's much more concerned about himself. But like, well, we'll just trust him. What else do we got to do? So, and he seems like he's going to go for it. He's going for it. And then right as he gets there, some asshole's waiting in the back of the car.
Gets him, fucking pops him in the back seat, kills him.
Here's actually an interesting thing about the
and I guess we forgot to say this here too. By this point, the cops and pretty much the main convict guys have allied against this like war, sharing guns and everything. And now it's just that mutual thing, like, hey, we're both going to survive together. Let's put our differences aside. I'm not a cop. You're not a criminal. These guys out here are the real criminals.
Exactly. And actually, an interesting thing about in the remake was this part was actually the Laurie character. The Laurie character was the one to get in the car and drive away, but then she spun out. They corner her. I'm like, oh, you're a brave woman. Just all you got to give me is a name or whatever. And then they shoot her in the head, and yeah.
Huh.
So
I'll have to check. At some point, I'll have to just check out that remake. Like, I know it's not gonna be nearly as good, but it sounds like one of those ones where it still seems interesting enough.
I remember. I mean, I might have to see it again, but I remember there was like this really awkward part where the character that was supposed to be Lee was talking to Lawrence Fishburne, who is basically the Napoleon character.
Oh, that's who Lawrence Fishburne is in it?
He's the Napoleon character.
For some reason, I was thinking that was Ethan Hawke or something.
No, Ethan Hawke is the Ethan Bishop character.
Ah, okay. Ethan doesn't know any other names, so.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I think that's what they're going with. Well, the last guy that played this role, his name was Ethan too, so good enough. That's all we need.
Yeah.
So he ends up at some point. The Lawrence Fishburne character and the Lee character, I don't even know if those are their names in this movie, in this version, but they're talking. He says like, "What's it like killing a man?" He's like, "Well, like killing someone's a lot like sex. What you do is, it's just this very
through their
awkward
ear until they fucking die."
Yeah, and then like something like that, pretty much. No, basically at some point like.
I don't get that as a sexual thing or as a killing thing. What does that mean?
He ends up
what
like
about
going
the
off.
Phones? Shut the fuck up.
What about They throw something. You just hear it from the other room.
Put your dick through her head.
Yeah. No.
Stop it. You're funny. Oh, look at it. Jamie fell over again. He's a drunk.
No, he just got shot again. That's all. No, but basically he then like at some point grabs her by the neck and just like and they're it's like there's all this sexual tension between them. Then it's like this. Like I saw the movie like I saw like parts of it like years back.
So you saw it like when you were a child when it was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, well, I saw it. I had to be maybe it was my senior year of high school or freshman year of college. But yeah, it was just like a very awkwardly clunky written conversation about killing guys and how it's similar to sex. I don't know. So, and the lead character is like, that sounds hot. So I'm like, all right. So, but so that was not the reason I wanted to see this one. I just saw, John Carpenter. Probably better than the other one I saw. So I want to see that one now just to compare.
It just sounds like those movies. Like I don't expect like something amazing of it. I just like just to see it, you know. Because this
it was trying to be way sleek.
Because this is one of these stories. Like I will say, if somebody, I know that movie was only made like 10 years ago, but if somebody said like, "Hey, we're making an Assault on Precinct 13 like remake," it sounds weird, but it's one of those kind of movies you can, and it doesn't really affect like the original one, you know. Mm-hmm. And it's just like it'd be cool just to see different takes on it, or like don't do a remake necessarily, but just take that similar concept. Which once again, if it's like Rio Bravo, or if it's like Night of the Living Dead, just that idea of people getting kind of shelled up into a building and then having to kind of defend themselves off. I mean, I guess you'd say that's sort of like a bottle film, but more this one just feels like the attack keeps coming from the outside instead. Mm-hmm. Not like you're locked inside with them.
Or something kind of like what Magnificent Seven is to Seven Samurai.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, where it's like you can have these kind of other ones, and there's even movies like that, and just do them in different genres and just kind of watch it. I don't know, like you like this right here, this style. You could do this on like a space movie too as well, and have it where they're fucking locked up inside like on a planet or something. Ways that enemies are coming in.
Something they were talking about doing for a little while was doing like a. This is more back on like Magnificent Seven for a second, but they're talking about doing like a Seven Samurai version of Star Wars. But that could happen still. We'll see where that goes. But this one, who knows? This something like a remake of this could be good. Like I said, the more I'm talking about the other one, it doesn't sound good. I just want to see it.
But yeah, that's how it feels like. It doesn't like it's really a good movie. I just feel like let's just watch it, see what the hell goes on. Like, why not?
I do want to see it, but I don't want to pay money for it. Even if we're talking like $1.99 on Amazon, I still don't want to have to pay money for it. Like, I don't know. And keep in mind, to do our Daredevil retrospect, I left Daredevil back at my old house. So here it's just kind of like, I already own this movie, but yeah, sure, I'll repay it. I'll watch it digitally. Here I'm like, I don't know if I want to rewatch this one over here though.
Yeah, well, if I saw it for like $2, I'd be like, oh, what the hey, maybe I'd pick it up just to check it out.
And for people, if this is the first time they listen to us, they're like, oh, wait, so you could just to take into account, like, people are saying, all right, so you're going to watch Daredevil for that, but you're not going to watch this, because just given the history people have with Daredevil.
Which is so weird.
Daredevil Director's Cut, we'll say that. Daredevil's Director's Cut.
I'll say Daredevil both versions, but yeah, it's like, still. But going back to, I guess, the 76 Assault on Precinct 13, I can't remember where the fuck we left off. They're like, by this point, this is where, like, just they keep invading in and whatnot, and you just get badass action and everything in it. And this movie's just, because sometimes there's some 70s movies, and I think people get this idea that there's not like as many action movies in the 70s, which is totally like a misconception. Action movies are good all the way back to like the 10s and the 20s almost. Like, people never fucked up the action movie, Some movies have more action than not, but just these good gritty movies, like pretty much like Assault on Precinct 13. And just like, this is the time period where it's finally like they could show a lot more violence. People are getting away with more things. They were lying to the MPAA to get things going.
One of my favorite parts in this whole movie is when they have this case filled with shotguns and shells, and they're trying to, for like a good 10 minutes of the movie, they can't get this thing open. Mm-hmm. They finally, right as like they're trying to hold this door back, the Napoleon character is basically holding back the door, and he's basically the badass of the movie. He's holding back this door. He's just like, I can't hold him any longer. And then at the last minute, the Austin Stroker character gets out the shotgun, tosses him the shotgun, and then he just blows these fuckers away right at the door. And then they don't have enough time because they both have this look like,
oh fuck! I just handed this guy a gun. He could shoot me right here and now.
Yeah, the Napoleon character stands there with a look like, I got a gun. The Ethan character's like, fuck, he has a gun. But then before they even have a chance to have that awkward standoff, someone's coming through the window. He turns and shoots at that guy, and it's just kind of like back to business. We got to like defend ourselves.
Yeah, and that's just like those two characters coming together, and this movie's just got such good acting in it too. It's just characters, the acting, and everything's really cool. And I like because they just kind of have this mutual agreement that hey, fuck, there's worse stuff going on. We got to fight for our lives. Like almost like that kind of idea. Like when we sort of get on the outside here, you know what's going to happen. You know that kind of idea. Like, do we just go our separate ways? Do we go back to business? You know that kind of thing. It is. They say at the moment it doesn't matter about that. We're just going to skip past that.
Napoleon also has a lot of great lines in it, just small things like
he's always asking for a cigarette. Every time somebody comes up to him, they're all like, he's like, you got a cigarette on you? And everybody's like, no, I don't have a cigarette. He's like, I guess I'll ask someone else.
He and Wilson have that great part where, or Wells have that great part where he says like, you got a cigarette? Yeah, but you ain't getting it. Don't you know those things can kill you? Like, oh, you don't want the competition, huh?
Yeah, there's that. And there's one time, too, where, like, if he finally gets somebody that he has him again, he's like, I already told you I don't have one. He's all like, well, I thought I'd ask again. And he's all, well, I don't smoke. Another one gone. Like, it's almost like you lost with, like an ally.
Like, well, that's oh yeah, that part. There's that part.
Yeah, it's like it's way earlier on in the movie.
Like, we're too far. I was thinking the part where he said something to the lines of like, there was something like, "Hey, do you have a cigarette?" And he's like, "I don't." What was it like? He says like, he said something to the lines of like, "I don't smoke," and he's just like, "Well, that's a more concrete answer, I guess." Yeah.
Yeah, he's just throughout the whole thing he does. And finally, I think
it's
remember, like, is it Laurie? Who the hell's the one that gives him a cigarette at some point?
I believe I think maybe he pockets one off like one of the bodies, but no, I think it's Lee. I think Lee does. Lee gives him the cigarette.
But pretty much from this point on, it's like you know they kind of just get some more action, and then you know it's also I guess what we forgot to mention. It's got a lot of these kind of neat horror movie elements too. Like as you know they're looking outside. Sometimes you know like there'll be just these guys just standing across the street next to these cars, just there. And then maybe later on they look again, there's nobody out there.
Or when they go by, you just kind of see these shadowy figures just kind of run by, almost kind of like primarily. You know what I mean? Just but somewhat in also a militaristic fashion, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's just, there's something kind of creepy about all these guys just kind of running around out there. And then like they even have scenes where it's like even farther away, like you can kind of see them like kind of hiding behind the trees and stuff too.
Like they'll see them, but they won't see them at first. Like they're not out there. Oh, no, wait, see over there? And you just kind of see just like them crouched down really low, and you might see the white of their tennis shoes or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Just like small things there. And then pretty much from this point, like they're actually what happens is since telephones and everything's been down, they've kind of sent some other patrol out there looking around. And this is another interesting thing, too, is this patrol never sees anything. They keep driving around. They go, there's nothing out here. I don't know why you keep sending us around here. And then they finally discover there's like a telephone repairman guy who's just fucking like murdered in the street. And that's when they call in the backup and everything like that.
He's just totally like strung up to the telephone pole. Like they're like, oh, we don't know where they're at. Though blood just starts dropping down.
Oh, yeah, they do like that almost. I forgot about that. That's right. He's not in the street. He's hanging from the telephone pole wrapped with the wire around his neck. Almost like that Hawaiian like ghost tale or whatever where like there's that vines or whatnot and the hanging bodies there.
Yeah, that whole story about a couple that makes out underneath this tree where they used to hang bodies, and then the guy leaves. He's like, oh, our car won't start. I'll go down the road. The guy leaves. The girl's just waiting in the back of the car.
Just waiting along, kind of scared.
All night just hearing against the windshield.
Or the roof.
The roof or whatever.
I think it was the windshield give it away faster.
Whatever works. Whatever the fuck. Something was hitting the car. So
it was just up there. It was just a tree and its big fucking dick slapping against it.
Yeah. It was the tree from Evil Dead. No, anyway, so then the girl eventually goes to sleep after trying to sleep all night. She couldn't, but eventually she falls asleep. Morning comes, some cops pull out of the car. She's like, whatever you do, don't look up, don't look up. Then she looks up, sees her boyfriend, her boyfriend's hanging there, like, oh no, fuck? You know the end.
Sees her boyfriend, just sees this. That's the guy from Assault from Precinct 13, the remake, with like his dick through his head.
We just gotta go to the dick jokes. Well, there you go. That killed 3 minutes. So,
so yeah, just in case you didn't know that urban legend. But
so
I think
ends
that's
up
a cool
happening
death
is-
though for
what's
that
cool-
guy off the telephone guy all hung up like that though.
What's cool about it though is this whole scene is they actually know there's a war going on, but and in real life I'm sure they could probably narrow it down and say, yeah, we figured it out, but they in the movie they present it as a believable way. They present it pretty believably when like, okay, they're using silencers, so they know there's guns, but they can't. It's hard to pinpoint from a distance.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have all electricity knocked off the grid around certain areas. And then on top of that, all the phone lines are down.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of guys out there, but what they're doing is the second someone gets shot, they pull them off and they like drag them off into the dark, or they move the cars. Like they're all moving shit. So if anybody went by, they wouldn't notice.
Yeah, it looks totally normal. They hide the bodies, they hide like any of the evidence, hide any of the debris, all that kind of stuff. And then also it's take place. It's like it's in kind of like at least in the 70s, Anderson down there above LA. So it's kind of a smaller section.
Mm-hmm. Which I'll say, because it looks a little bit more of like a suburban kind of area, but the poster, it's like this big like metropolitan city with a giant faceless mullet man standing over the whole city. It's like, oh shit, what the fuck are we in for? No, the movie's still awesome, but this is a case where it almost looks like the cover's kind of lying to you.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess maybe if you turned around, you could see Los Angeles, even though that looks even bigger than Los Angeles itself. So. It is kind of weird. Well, it's even this movie itself. Like the original title, I think was supposed to be fucking. What do you want to call it? You want to call it The Anderson Alamo. So there's your Western title. And then it got halfway through. John Carpenter's like, I'll call it The Siege, which makes sense because there's a part when they're in there. He's like, it's a goddamn siege. They're sieging the whole place, which is just kind of like, oh, I see where that title came in.
It's almost the part where they kind of almost look at the camera. It's a siege,
Yeah, so you can see, like, we got to say the title of this movie. And then for some reason, it was like, I think it was like one of the producers or somebody else kind of came up with this thing. They're like, well, let's call it Assault on Precinct 13. Though they're technically at Precinct 9, Section 13. But I think as far as the title goes, I think that title just sounds way more badass than the other ones.
Sounds better than Assault on Precinct 9. Yeah, Precinct 13 sounds better.
And I think that was the whole thing. They're like, 13 sounds cooler. And then, The Siege doesn't sound bad, and that really even sounds like a John Carpenter title anyways. But not nearly as cool as Assault on Precinct 13.
Yeah. So, basically, they end up just kind of holding off for a little bit longer. They kind of reach the point where they're almost out of guns. So they down basically almost like in like Night of the Living Dead fashion. What's I guess the basement almost trying to make a a makeshift barricade pushing against them.
I think they got like guys. It's like a huge door or something they got.
Yeah,
it's like a shield, and they set up this.
Still got guys hacking at it, and I think they still have I think a gun or two, just with a few shots left.
Well, they got the rifle that's got 3 shots in it, and there's like that flammable tank that they've set up. And then they get their huge door, and they're like, okay, we gotta work our way back. He's like, I got 3 shots to go. And you just see all these, like, gang members just start running in, just fucking, almost, like 28 days later zombies, you can almost say. They're just running in, they're just attacking this fucking door of, like, for some reason they don't have any guns. I don't know. Like,
Hammers or
whatever. There's no guns, but it makes it more primal and scary, I think, when they just come in with fucking axes and knives and things like that. And so they're holding them off back. And they get back there, and they're like, okay, you got to make the shot. You got to make the shot. And it's one of those ones, like, the first shot ends up missing. And he's like, fuck you. You said you got it. I really believe in a confident man, but you're starting to make me doubt. And he's like, I'll get it. I'll fucking get it. And then he shoots another shot off, and it ends up, like, hitting one of the guys or something like that. Somebody gets in the way. And then, finally, on the third one, they finally hit it. Blows up. Kills all those gang members in there. They use the door for cover. And then, next thing you know, they're walking out, there's all these dead bodies everywhere and such. And I don't think this is that part where like the backup finally shows up and everything like that. And then what happens from there? Is that right where it goes to credits almost?
Just about. They kind of, I want to say Lee has one more moment with Napoleon. She heads on out because she got shot earlier on. Like, she gets fucking shot, but she picks up a gun. Like, I don't fucking care. I never fired a gun before, but better late than never, I guess. Boom. She's probably one of my favorite characters of the movie just because, I mean, these three characters, they kind of work together. I'd almost kind of wish, I mean, you don't have to because, I mean, it's not going to happen.
Like, what, a
but,
sequel with all those three characters back in it again?
Yeah, because they all work perfectly together. It's kind of like this perfect team, you know?
Exactly. Like, they should just be this new squad that takes...
It is this very Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman dynamic they all have.
Yeah, they got a real good... Well, I think what also makes Lee pretty good is not only she gets shot at this one point, and she just kind of does that thing where she, like, looks down, like, oh, fuck, I just got shot, but, like, she just takes it, and then, like, fucking picks up a gun, just starts shooting at other people, just, like... And there's even other parts, too, where she, like, somebody goes to, like, kind of, like, grab her, and she just fucking, like, knees him in the nuts, punch him in the face, just like, yeah, I can fucking take care of myself.
Mm-hmm. And what's up happening is the cops are coming in, and they see Napoleon. So they're like, one of the SWAT guys is about to put handcuffs on him, and that's where Ethan pushes them apart.
He's
and
like,
says, "You get off of him!" Like, you walk out of the front of the building with me, like, be an honor. Like, I know it would, you know. Then they start playing the theme, da 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 da. We're doing like the Budweiser frogs right now, but anyway.
Budweiser.
But yeah,
which this is another one too. That it has fucking great John Carpenter music in it.
He apparently did this score in 3 days.
Yeah, I saw that too on like a fucking like kind of like really early synthesizer that was kind of they had to like tune it all the time and everything like that. Had a bunch of problems with it.
Which apparently one of the main inspirations for the soundtrack was the weird mix right here was the Rio Bravo score, as well as Led Zeppelin's Immigrant Song.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because, like, the Rio Bravo, like, in the audio commentary, it's like, everything's like, here's my scene that I like from the Rio Bravo. I've decided to put it in here. And here's this from the Rio. It's like, this is, like, almost like it's like the Superman Returns to, like, a Richard Donner, but, like, almost like, here's my love letter to, like, Rio Bravo. How much I love this film.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of like, I see what you mean with that. I think this is way better than Superman Returns. We're wrong. I like Superman Returns, but this is way, way, way fucking better. So,
yeah, I'll say that too. I like it a lot. I like it way more than that too. You know, I guess I'm one of the higher defenders of Superman Returns, but yeah. But what I mean is just like I'm just saying for like how much like a love letter you can write to a movie. But I think it's at that time where people like, because nowadays you could watch Assault on Precinct 13, you could really hand it to somebody and be like, oh, dude, this movie is just like you would not even think that it came from somewhere else.
I think one of the things that makes it so, because you can make this bigger, grander, like a big grand scale without even using the name Assault on Precinct 13. It'd feel like, oh, they kind of took that concept from Rio Bravo or Precinct 13. But this movie, I think one of the biggest charms of it is how small it is and how gritty it is, and just the dynamic of the three main characters.
Oh, yeah, no, and I think that's kind of what makes it. And that's sort of like what I think makes that like remake, even though I've never seen it, but when I just look at the pictures of it, is it just seems too sleek, too 2000s-y. I was going to say modern, but that's not really modern anymore. Too, you know, that kind of, I don't know, it's almost missing that. Like, I think if you're going to do like a remake again of Assault on Precinct 13, I think a smart way to make it would actually be take place in the 70s and have it have that same dynamic this does, just, you know, you could just add things to it. In a sense, I'm going to use this, like the Rob Zombie Halloween remake, where, you know, it's sort of pretty much the same thing, but he's just really just adding even more layers to it.
Mm-hmm. I think the only Rob Zombie remake I think I saw was the number 2. I think I saw the second one. I never saw.
Oh,
I don't remember seeing the first one.
Oh, well,
maybe I did.
I think you did, because I remember we talked about that a long time ago. I think you said you only saw the second one. The second one's good, but that first one is like pure amazing. Like, I'd almost even say it's in my top 5 favorite horror movies that I've ever seen. Like, I liked it that much.
Did he ever make a third one, or was it just the first 2?
Just 2.
Okay, because I want to say that he had, like, I want to say that what was it? The one I saw, there's a part where there's a horse there. He sees his mom talking to him at some point, like... Actually, yeah, it had to be the second one, because he fucking dies at the end, but the girl takes his place or some shit. So,
that's the second one.
Okay.
I mean, it's still good, but like not nearly as good as that first one. Well, actually, everything Rob Zombie's ever done is pretty fucking good, but still, like that first one though, it's like that to me it's so fucking like dialed in. Like I don't know, like probably one of the best remakes of anything I've ever seen too. But that's not Assault on Precinct 13, so but still related, still John Carpenter.
It's a remake. We're talking about good remakes, so I guess it kind of. Well, I guess that's Assault on Precinct 13 remake, not so good, but yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, but like there. So just saying, like I just think because the story in this one's so simple. I mean, you could make like I watch this and every single time I always just feel inspired to like I always myself I go, man, you just start getting some ideas like, man, what could you do just taking that same kind of concept that's simple and it's like I don't feel like you're really ripping anybody off when you kind of do it. I mean, you can all say it's like, oh well, that came from this or that, but it's more like it's a good like just like almost like Lego mass that you can just play with and just build like whatever you want from there. Have different things happen, different characters. It's like the concept of just like a place being kind of like boarded up and being defended is, you know, pretty much your movie. But from there, you can just add whatever kind of elements you want. What kind of characters you want? What kind of enemies do you want coming in? What kind of weapons you want them using? What kind of dialogue do you want to have in here? What kind of like, and from there you can create like, you could literally create 100 different movies using that same like format, but make them seem totally different.
What I think would be almost be kind of a cool example of like of another like Assault on Precinct 13. Like, I don't mean just something taking the concept. I mean someone trying to pass up another remake, calling it Assault on Precinct 13. Would be maybe it's like a diner in the middle of nowhere, and they just pull in there for a second, and that's where like I don't know they
gotta defend this diner.
They gotta defend this diner from like I don't know, maybe there's like off-duty sheriff in there or something, or a rookie cop in there. You know, just have a weird group of people all in this little diner off the side of the highway. And I don't know, it doesn't have to be like because I remember the 2005 one. It looked like I remember everything looked black, everything looked sleek, and they were like in high-end military gear. It doesn't have to be that. I'm thinking it could almost be like something like maybe like a cartel or something like that.
Exactly, keep it rugged.
Yeah, just something interesting like that. And maybe, you know, the guy who owns the diner is a fucking gun nut, and like so he has like a store. He's like, I knew this day was coming. He's like some conspiracy theorist, like the government's coming for me. You know, he just happens to have a bunch of guns down below or some shit like that, or you know, or it's a redneck town, so everyone is carrying or something like that. You know.
Exactly. See right there. That's there you go. There's a story. Like, well, here's another one. Okay, you take something like a movie like Captain Phillips, but instead, what it is there's way more of those guys trying to invade, and they have to fight them off the boat. And no, it's not that Tom Hanks gets captured for 2 hours. No, it's Tom Hanks is kicking ass for 2 hours.
It's like based on the inspired true story. Tom Hanks walking out with two guns. Ah!
But you know what I mean? Like just think about that. Like you're on a huge boat. Or even, here's a cool concept. You're on a cruise liner, and fucking the cruise liner gets invaded. You know, they cut communications, all that kind of stuff like that. And now you're running through the different rooms. Since the thing's so fucking big in itself, you can kind of hide out and all this stuff. That actually becomes more like a Die Hard movie now that I think about that one.
Sounds like shit. Sounds like Cruise 2, Speed 2.
Yeah, it sounds like Speed 2, but that one, I guess they're still going. But that's not like they're stopping, but... I'm more thinking like if you're almost like out like on a derelict ship like out there and there's like nothing you can do. Like it's not like anybody's driving anywhere, but you're being like invaded by the boat and you're kind of sneaking around in
an oil rig.
Yeah, or like an oil rig. That would work too. The only reason I said I thought about stuff like that, but then I'm like, no, I'm going to go more with like a cruise liner, just the fact you'll have all these cool like almost sets you could kind of go through. Like here's a ballroom and here's a casino and here's an arcade and here's like the food court and all this stuff like that. I guess like I always thought too. Here's like which movie?
I guess that'd take away the claustrophobia of the whole thing.
I don't think it'd take away claustrophobia because you're almost like it's almost like because you're still stuck on this ship and no matter what you can't get off of it.
Mm-hmm.
But you could kind of go through these areas. You know, it's almost like it'd work well, too. It sounds weird, but like a fucking Jurassic Park bottle film on a fucking boat like that.
That'd be cool. Like, you had some big, like, megalodon thing. Like, is that like the big water?
No, not like a megalodon. Like, you'd have, like, I'm just thinking things like smaller, like Dilophosaurus and Velociraptors and stuff fucking break free. Like, maybe they're underneath the ship, break free, and next thing you know, they're fucking eating people on the ship and whatnot, and...
I was thinking, what if you got one? So it's basically you can't go nowhere because you got like some water dinosaurs like just circling it, slamming it every once in a while.
Then you're getting like that fucking shark movie that's coming out with that lady that gets stuck on the buoy or whatnot.
No. I'm not just stopping there. I'm not stopping there. But then you also have raptors on there as well.
Yeah, so you can't fucking jump in the water or else the Megalodon will get you. And then
Exactly, yeah.
But no, I think Assault on Precinct 13 it sets it up for, like, you could just go so many places just with that basic story concept and, all kind of things. And then, of course, John Carpenter, he just does it so badass. This is just one of those films that's like, John Carpenter, like, just about everything, he does is fucking fantastic. I actually can't even think of a bad movie he ever made, I love everything. Fucking Mission to Mars is great. I even Escape from L.A. Like, the people mostly say this is, like, weird and blasphemy. I like it literally just as much as Escape from New York, but just in different ways.
Wait, did he do Mission to Mars or Ghost of Mars?
All right, no, Ghost of Mars. Did I say Mission to Mars?
Yeah, that's the Val Kilmer one, right?
No, not that one. He did the one with Ice Cube and fucking Pam Grier and stuff.
Oh, okay, that one.
And it's also got Jason Statham.
Jason Statham. Yeah.
I haven't seen that one in a while, but that's a great fucking movie too.
I've never seen that one, but I want to.
And then, Vampires he did. That's a cool one in, like, the 90s.
Vampires was awesome, where it was, like, James Woods, and they would, like, shoot a fucking stake into a abandoned, I thought it was abandoned, but, like, a trailer, like, a pail.
And they got the winch, and they're fucking dragging them out, like, into the sun.
Igniting in fucking flames and all that shit,
I love that one. You could just really talk about John Carpenter for fucking ever. And starting here with pretty much Assault on Precinct 13, second movie in, and he's already just fucking dialed into the max. But that's probably a good place to leave off on, or else we'll just end up keep talking about other premises and ideas and so on. So if you've never seen Assault on Precinct 13, or you want to see it again, and you also want to support the podcast somehow, some way, we'll put a little Amazon link in the fucking description. Click on that. Whether you buy it digital, DVD, Blu-ray, or just buy anything else on Amazon. Doesn't cost you anything extra, but it does send us a little something our way. Other ways you can support, we got a Patreon page. You could donate something monthly there, keep the podcast and the animations going. If anything else, don't want to pay but want to still give us a support, well, you can always leave reviews for things like iTunes, Stitcher, and all that fun stuff. Till then, check out oldmanorange.com, and I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunigan.
And we'll see you some other time.
Later, folks.
Check out our website at oldmanorange.com for even more podcasts, cartoons, videos, music, and more. Send us an email at oldmanorangepodcast@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe, share, rate, and review us on iTunes, Podomatic, or any of the other fine sites we might be located on. And if you want to help out even more, click on the Amazon or GameStop links on our webpage before you make any purchases there. It won't cost you a penny, but it sends us a little something our way. Thanks again, and tune in next week for more Old Man Orange Podcast.